So what we've been up to in the last 2 weeks is we've been working on two really big sort of parts of the game. One, trying to get sort of the full game flow of I start a game, I play a game, is the mana and the gold and the reason that I win and the reason that I lose is we spent a lot of time putting all of these parts together. Now we want to make all these parts sort of work together in a way that makes sense. So are all these parts working together in a way that makes sense? Are the values adjusted in a way that it's kind of fun? And kind of, obviously it's not balanced yet, but cutting the rough edges so that we know, hey, if you put all of these parts that we've spent the last few months putting together, if we put all of these together in sort of one game, is it fun yet? And kind of going and playing it and saying, okay, that's not fun because of A, B, and C. Let's fix A, B, and C. Playing again, okay, it's not fun because of A, B, and C. So that was sort of the number one thing that we were up to. The number two thing that we were up to is on the back end, fixing the servers and getting multiplayer up and running really well. First thing we got to do, because it's a brand new build, I got to go build an army. Now, we don't actually have the UI for this finalized. You'll notice it looks a little bit wonk. Part of the reason it looks wonk is we have resolution issues. I've actually got this set at a larger resolution than normal, and right now things are they're not working with the resolution. So it's a thing we got to fix, but we'll get to that. So anyway, I've got all of these different factions that I can choose from. You'll note, by the way, we went in and we did very rough art for everything. So it's not done yet, but you can kind of see what things might look like in the future. Some of them are more done than others, like the lemurs. That's a pretty finalized piece of art. But stuff like this witch doctor, he's got a lot more work to be done. But in any case, we've got like all of the art sort of kind of made so that we can kind of sort of see what's going on. A normal army. I gotta make a real army for this fight. The nice thing with the heroes is the heroes are going to give you extra gold. In some cases they'll give you extra abilities. That's what I'm saying, abilities. I don't really like Carl. I'm not going to bring Carl. I'm only allowed to bring 3 factions, so you kind of have to figure out which factions you're going to bring. This is a thing that I think really plagues developers, is that we don't always get everybody on the same page when we're building stuff. And what I mean by that is, when the artists were building this, they were kind of told, okay, make some trees and make some stuff and make them fit in hexes. And they were looking at a world like this. They were looking at the art like this. They were looking at everything like this, and they made art that looked good here, right? But I mean, look at this. This is strategically in this situation. I can't see where any of these guys are moving. I can't. Nobody plays our game like this. People play our game like this, right? And the problem is the artists were building art that looked good here for a game that's largely played here. And that's, it's not a new problem. It's the sort of thing that I see happening in development over and over and over again. And it's partially a communication issue. It's partially do the people who are working on your game play your game enough issue. There's a lot of issues involved here. But it's actually, I'm sad to say, because it was a problem we had in our studio for this example, and it's kind of an amateur thing. It comes from communication and really clearly showing. This is one of the things I always tell artists, is you always have to look at your art in context. It'll always happen that I'll be like, okay, can somebody draw me some mushrooms? And I'll get an artist and they'll draw, say, these mushrooms right here. And then they'll show me a gray screen with those mushrooms on it. And they'll say, are these good? And the last thing in the world a designer should do at that point is say, yeah, those are good. Because you don't know. You don't know if those mushrooms are good. You just know, oh, they're pretty, right? But pretty isn't good. Pretty is just pretty. What you want to know is, are they good? Are they good for the game? And to be good in the game, you got to put them in context. You got to put them in the game. You got to say, do they look good in this game? And if they don't look good in the game, it doesn't matter how pretty they are, they're not good, right? Your definition of good in game development is not, is it pretty? It's, does it achieve the goal that you're trying to reach with this particular piece of art? And that's a hard lesson to learn, and it's a lesson that a surprising number of people in game development take a really long time to learn. And it's something that we even forget here sometimes. And this is a perfect example of us forgetting it here.